Welcome to your Tuesday lunch break. I'm Tanya Rivero. Troubling news as voters cast ballots in primaries today and we inch closer to November's presidential election. The FBI is warning state officials about a growing threat of cyber attacks on their computer networks. This comes after 2 states were recent targets of hacker attacks. Joining us now to discuss is WSJ News editor Naftali Bendavid in Washington. Hi, Naftali. Are these recent attacks raising fears that criminal groups or even foreign governments may be actively trying to influence November's presidential election?
Yeah, I mean, there's some mystery about who's behind some of these, although in at least one of the cases, the thought is that it's either the Russian government or Russian-affiliated hackers. But these incidents took place in Arizona and Illinois, and they're definitely raising fears that this could become a lot more widespread, whether it is individuals, criminal groups, foreign governments, or foreign-affiliated groups. The motives of some of these people is still unknown. A key question is whether or not the idea here is just to make mischief or actually to influence the outcome of the elections. But either way, it's of concern.
Absolutely. Now, we know that there was this FBI flag alert earlier this month saying 2 recent cyber attacks affected 2 state election boards. Do we know for sure which 2 states were attacked?
Well, I guess you'd say we know with a high degree of likelihood. The Arizona officials have come out and said that they had to briefly shut down their system after what they believe to be Russian-related hackers, or what federal officials believe to be Russian-related hackers, gained the login credentials of some election officials. In Illinois, the FBI didn't specifically name Illinois, but what it mentioned was a breach that happened in July, which is when we know a breach did occur in Illinois. So it's pretty certain that these are the 2 states we're talking about.
Okay, now we know that that our government has been able to track at least the Arizona attack to Russia. Did they track it to an individual? Do we know?
Well, that still remains murky. You know, the way these things often work is that it's not the government itself and it's not an individual, but it's hacking groups or organizations or collectives that are known to be affiliated with and supported by foreign governments, whether that may be Russia or something else. So we're likely talking about something like that. It provides a little bit of distance from the government involved, but it nonetheless has that government's backing. And I think that's the concern here.
Absolutely. Now, we know that in Illinois, as you said, this past July, the hackers breached the state's voter registration records, but not the voting tabulation system. Is that correct?
It is, and this goes to this question about whether or not the goal is to actually influence the election or just to sort of create trouble, the way hackers try to break into almost any target that I think presents a challenge to them. In this case, the voter database itself isn't related to voting results or who voted for the Republicans or for the Democrats. So it was a breach that was of concern, but it didn't seem to be related to any sort of attempt to influence the outcome. But, you know, the truth is that any of these things raises questions and is troubling in a democracy where we really depend on the integrity of the voting system to be ironclad. You know, after an election, you don't want people to be able to say, well, maybe this only happened because of some cyber attack or some electronic breach. So all of these things, no matter how directly related they are to the election outcome, I think raise concerns on the part of election officials about the integrity of the process.
Absolutely, and spotlight the need to beef up security. Thank you so much, Naftali Bendavid, for that.
Thanks so much.